What up, YouTube? Is this your boy, the Visionary? Welcome to another episode of Firesidechats Preludes, bringing you the latest and current events that matter to me the most. 3 new topics I want to talk about in current events. The first topic is titled "Schools Seeking to Arm Employees Hit Hurdle on Insurance." Reading directly from the article, as more schools consider arming their employees, some districts are encountering a daunting economic hurdle. Insurance carriers threatening to raise their premium or revoke coverage entirely. During the legislative session this year, 7 states enacted laws permitting teachers or administrators to carry guns in schools. 3 of the measures in Kansas, South Dakota, and Tennessee took effect last week. Interesting that out of all this, it's the insurance companies that are more or less affected by this, or actually the people that have insurance. And it's kind of strange that that they're making a really big issue about this, because I'm saying, if you have a gun, does that like raise your risk factors for getting hurt or something like that? I really don't know. What's interesting to me about this article specifically is the fact that it seems to be like this reactionary movement to the events that happened pretty recently, pretty much the Sandy Hook shooting and the Gotham Knight, Batman, whatever. The far right is basically, or the states that are far right are basically trying to implement new laws and policies, new local laws, in which people are starting to go, you know what, we like our Second Amendment rights, and we feel that if more responsible adults had guns, then those shootings wouldn't have happened, or more or less people would have gotten killed if responsible, trained adults had weapons to defend themselves. In most respects, I really agree with them. I really do believe if reasonable adults had weapons to protect themselves against stuff like that, then shit wouldn't pop off like half as much at all. You know what I mean? That's not taking into account the fact that probably a lot of those events are staged events. Period. I think that's the reason why the people in the White House and State Department have fought so hard to fight against these new measures, and why they're trying to attack the NRA and the last vestiges of what ALEC is, specifically for that. Because, the first answer or first response from the NRA was basically like, yo, you need to start arming teachers. You know what I mean? You need to start arming teachers, giving them the training to know what to do in situations like that, and less people will die because of it. And to a certain extent, I agree with that in and of itself. And then once this dude said, I forgot his name, everyone started to flame him, both the right and the left, which is same shit, same motherfuckers, trying to get the guns out of people's hands. And, it's just all part of the fucking game. I don't know if the extreme right are really taking this too far. I honestly think that teachers need some sort of training, not necessarily like gun training, but I think they need some sort of training to prepare themselves for situations like that, if it's becoming a focal point in American society where people just say, you know what, I'm going to flip out and go to schools and start shooting up kids, because they are the real reasons why I'm suffering. Bullshit, you know what I mean? Fuck out of here with that. But in any event, I think it'll be more safer if you actually allow the teachers and certain school officials to actually carry armed weaponry to protect themselves, and more importantly, to protect the children and kids that they, look after every day in and day out. Second topic. In secret court vastly broadens power of NSA. Reading directly from the article, in more than a dozen classified rulings, the nation's surveillance court has created a secret body of law giving the National Security Agency the power to amass vast collections of data on Americans while pursuing not only terrorism suspects, but also people possibly involved in nuclear proliferation, espionage, and cyber attacks. Officials say the ruling, some nearly 100 pages long, revealed that the court has taken on a much more expansive role by regularly assessing broad constitutional questions and establishing important judicial precedents with almost no public scrutiny, according to current former officials familiar with the court's classified decisions. The 11-member Foreign Intelligence Service Court, known as the FISA Court, was once mostly focused on approving case-by-case wiretapping orders. But since major changes in legislation and greater judicial oversight of the intelligence operations were instituted 6 years ago, it has quietly become almost a parallel Supreme Court, serving as the ultimate arbiter on surveillance issues and delivering opinions that will most likely shape intelligence practices for years to come, the officials say. I would like to say off the bat that this is very dangerous, to have a de facto shadow Supreme Court that, you know, in secret decides and passes a judgment on surveillance operations. It's very dangerous, you know what I mean? Because they have no oversight. There's no committee looking over them. All their shit is classified. So it's like, yo, seriously, what the fuck is going on? Now, if we were to be talking about actual operations that are looking after, you know, suspected terrorists or people who are involved in espionage or cyber attacks, like literally those particular specific subjects or people involved in those, I would be like, sure, no problem. But the laws themselves and the fact that they have these secret courts, it's dangerous in the fact that, you know, you don't know who they're really looking after. You know what I mean? Like, are they just looking at individuals who are just radical in the sense that they're anti-government or anti-corporation? You know what I mean? Like, that needs to be talked about and discussed more. They need to bring this shit up more, and they need to stop this whole secret court shit. They did this back in the day. I think, was it in England? I think it's called the Star Chambers or some shit like that, where they had secret courts, you know, passing judgment on motherfuckers, and they had no protection whatsoever. And it's like, in this particular situation where you have where you have this organization who has almost de facto carte blanche to look after and spy on people, and then you have a secret court saying, well, you know, these cases are, you know, top secret, and we can't discuss them with anyone, and blah, 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 and it's like, no. You need to cut that shit out. You need to stop this. This agency needs to be investigated hard body, and we need to stop making what they're doing legal, because a lot of what they're doing is illegal now through the courts and through signed documentation. Now their shit is illegal. Fuck out of here, yo. Such bullshit. Next topic number 3. Conservatives' aggressive ad campaign seeks to cast doubt on the healthcare law that's passed. Directly from the article. Though many of its rules do not take effect for months, President Obama's healthcare law is already the subject of an aggressive advertising campaign by Republicans to sow doubts about how it will work in one of the largest campaigns of its kind. Americans for Prosperity, conservative advocacy group financed in part by Charles and David Koch. Are you serious? Koch brothers? The fuck out of here. Will begin running television commercials this week asserting that the law will limit Americans' healthcare choices. It's very funny that the Koch brothers are involved in this. If I fucking recall, during the 2012 election, it was like in the news, the Koch brothers actually said, you know what, if he gets elected, if you vote for him and he gets elected, I'm gonna like fire all you motherfuckers. And he actually did. He fired a lot of people and let them go. But more or less, the actual issue of the healthcare law, I realized something, that there was a very dangerous repercussion for the healthcare law being passed into law. And that ripple effect, I'm suffering from it now. On the surface, he passes the law, right? He passes the law, and now businesses are having to go, you know, we have to provide healthcare coverage for all our workers. So the reaction, or the radical reaction of the economic sector, the private sector, is basically, you know what, we're going to actually just start like letting people go because we cannot afford to provide our workers with full coverage, you know what I mean? So we let a bunch of workers go, and then the ones that we keep, we will provide coverage for them. Now there's two aspects to this. The first aspect, and I hypothesized this before because it was something I was directly seeing and I wanted to put into words, and that is, because of Obama's healthcare law, it has created a new dimension to the economy, and more importantly, employment. And in specifics, part-time employment, or I should say the permanent staple of the temp employee. Now, what I mean by that is that what's happening is that since all these businesses are being affected by the Obama healthcare law, and they're reacting and going, we're going to start firing people, the new business strategy is that what they're going to do is that when they start hiring people, instead they will just fire all their regular workers and start hiring temp workers. Why? Because number one, you pay temp workers less. Number two, temp workers only work a certain amount of months before you let them go, because if you keep them past, I think, 6 months, they are eligible for unemployment and stuff like that. And the businesses usually have to pay unemployment via government and taxes and all that shit. So what happens is that the private sector is starting to take advantage of temp agencies. And what they're doing is they're going, you know what, temp agency, we want you to provide us with 50 people, and we have this campaign or this commission or this specific objective we need to fulfill in the next 4 months. So the temp agencies go, okay, yeah, you know what, we're going to do that. We're going to provide you with the workers. So they provide them with the workers, and then they let them go. And what's happening is that America is going to turn into that. That it's going to turn into the economy of the permanent temp. And permanent temps are always going to be part-time workers. They're not going to have health benefits. They're not going to have 401k plans and packages like that. And I can see that mainly. Like, I know a lot of friends, people that move to California or the Midwest, North Dakota, all that, who work for temp agencies, and that's what the temp agencies are doing via the companies. Because the companies are like, yo, I can't afford this shit. And, oh, you know what? This is actually better for us. Because now we can just go, oh, you know what? Kick these motherfuckers out because it's legal, and I'm just going to start hiring temps from the temp agency. Very dangerous scenario I see, because if America, like, turns into that, where no one has permanent work, you know, or full-time work, and everyone is working part-time specifically, and if like 3 people are being hired for 1 person and they get fired later on, that's very dangerous. And I think that's going to be a very solidified staple in American economics for the next couple of years, until something gives way or until something changes. Alright, thank you YouTubers for watching my video. Peace, and stay tuned for the next update or whatever. Deuces.